6:05, and we're sitting down with Paul Seville, events manager here at Sanford Pentagon. Thanks for taking time with us, Paul. We've tried to catch up with you during tournaments, but that is impossible, isn't it?
Yeah, we were just talking about that this morning, so it's kind of hit and miss, depending on time of day.
Well, you stay pretty busy, but you know, the Pentagon has been open, I can't believe it's 2 years now. It just amazes me.
Yeah, we opened, soft opening September 2013, and then we weren't really fully functional till October, because our courts were still being, they're still under the process of putting in some of the outer courts, but the main arena was done September 2013.
And what was the first big event?
It would have been the NBA preseason game in October 2013. That was Timberwolves and the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, that was a well-attended event.
It was. I mean, it was a different event. It was the first event we had. It was more of a rock concert atmosphere. I don't know that people were as in tune to the game, other than Nate Walters was playing, so there was a local flair there. But I think it was more looking at the facility, seeing what the building had to offer. The second event we had the month later when we had Wisconsin St. John's was more of a basketball atmosphere. But that first event, I think the NBA by nature is a different kind of philosophy. When fans go to watch the NBA, it's not the same as a college event. So.
Right. Well, and the main court is just amazing.
It's unique, and it's really interesting when you reach out to college teams that want to play at the Pentagon, and their first reaction is they think they're playing at the event center. You know, why are they playing there? And then you explain it to them. You know, it's a different facility, different philosophy. It's something unique, and once they get here, then reaction is always the same. People are blown away by the building, and it never gets old when you showcase the building to outside people, and the reaction is interesting because everybody has the same reaction.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and it surprisingly holds a lot of people. You know, it's an intimate atmosphere when you go in there. You just feel like you're at a very intimate, close game, and.
You know, and it does. If you have an event in the arena, you could have 3,000 people in the arena, then you could have an outer court event going on, and we've done that multiple times where we've had a youth tournament on the 6 outer courts and a college game in the arena, and there's a lot of people in the building. Or one day we had cheer and dance in the arena, and we had a youth basketball tournament, and you couldn't hardly walk in the building because there's that many people in there. So depending on the activity, we'd like to see all the courts busy. You know, a lot of times we do have all 9 courts going, and it's exciting because it gives a lot of opportunity for the local area youth, not only just the youth, but you know, adults as well. So it depends on what the activity is.
Yeah. Now, when you say 9 courts, are you referring to splitting the main court into 3, or?
Yeah, there are 3 courts in the Heritage Arena. A lot of people don't know that because most times they come here, maybe there's a college event going on or an event that all the bleachers are pulled up. But under the chairback bleachers, there's 2 courts in addition to the main court. Yeah. So. And
if you haven't been here for a youth tournament, you're probably not going to see that.
Yeah, and it's in the wintertime we don't necessarily use the arena as much because we have the Skyforce as our home tenant, and they take up a lot of the time in the arena with practices and games, and it's game setup, so it takes a little bit of effort to turn the arena to 3 courts. The summertime for our club tournament, so we typically have all 9 courts going.
Yeah. Oh, and you know, I love the Heritage Arena and the old school clock in there. It's just beautiful to go into. But probably my favorite part is the outer courts where you have all the kids playing.
See, that's the thing. If you give a tour of the facility, if you take them into the arena right away, people are blown away by the arena. But then you're like, when they see the outer courts, they're like, oh, you have outer courts. Or if you show them the outer courts, they don't realize there's an arena in the middle of the building as well. So it's very unique. I don't know if there's any structure in the United States that's similar to this. There are some college campuses that have facilities with some outer practice courts, but to the extent of a mini arena in the middle with 6 full-length high school basketball floors on the outside, I don't know of any place like it.
Well, the design from the outside even is impressive, and the Pentagon shape.
Yeah, it is, and that was all. I mean, the credit needs to go where deservingly so is Kelby Kravinoff's vision when he wanted to build an arena or a basketball facility or a sports complex. He didn't want a facility that mirrored anything else in the country. He wanted something unique, and we've been able to capture and accomplish that through the Pentagon.
Yeah, we definitely did accomplish that. So, you know, 2 years you've had probably how many events?
Oh, golly.
Putting you on the spot here.
A lot. I mean, it depends on the defined event, but as far as basketball events, we typically run 8 youth tournaments from November through March, and then we run 3 club events in the spring and in the summer. So there's 11 basketball tournaments. Then you have volleyball thrown in the mix. There's probably 10 to 15 volleyball tournaments in there as well. We do 4 high school classics a year, which there's 8 to 9 games, so there's at least 36, 72 teams playing in those classics. Some of them are duplicated, so it's not 72 unique teams, but this year we're doing 4 major college basketball games. So I mean, we keep growing it every year. There's plans down the road to continue to provide the college entertainment as far as, you know, bringing in nationally known, recognized Division I teams to play against each other, to play our local Summit League schools. We're very fortunate to have great relationships with USD and South Dakota State and NDSU right here in our region. The hardest part is getting people to come in here and convincing them it's a neutral site game to play them, because it's a very high advantage for them to play that. But thankfully we've been lucky enough to get people to want to do it. So.
Yeah. Well, and being able to see a college game, a high caliber college game, is really beneficial for those younger players with aspirations.
It is. I mean, it's unique because we're 19 rows from the court. This is a further seat on the lower level, and the suites are a little bit further, but I mean, there's not a bad seat in the house. And to get a seat of that caliber at a major arena like the Kohl Center in Wisconsin or Lawrence Fieldhouse down in Kansas, I mean, if you're going down there to get 19 rows from the court, you're going to pay a lot more than here. And then you add in the travel, food, and expense of a hotel room. You know, you have that luxury of staying home and watching that game. And you know, we can only provide a couple games a year, but I think the overwhelming success of those games and the buzz around the community and everybody's wanting to know who's coming in next, and you know, we're just continue to target high caliber Division I schools and things that are unique to our region.
Yeah, we did come to one of the women's games. It was great. We really enjoyed it. Now you also have some experience, quite a bit of experience with youth basketball as the manager for Dakota Schoolers.
A little bit. It goes back a little ways. So, you know, that helped translate in this position. I mean, the connections through the years, the relationships, more so the relationships, not just with the athletes, but just with the colleges, and that's been helpful and beneficial in my role here at the Pentagon in helping to maybe ease some concerns of why they should play here or why they'd want to consider playing here. There's a lot of trust involved with that, and I think, you know, the reputation of that program through the years has helped translate into a lot of success here at the facility.
And it's a great program. You've had a lot of players go on and do some impressive things for the Dakota Schoolers.
We have. We're very, very fortunate. Tremendous support in my coaching staff, and very lucky to have the kids in the state of the caliber that we've had. So it takes a lot of luck to have success in that.
And there are some other great youth basketball programs that have arisen in South Dakota in the last 10, 15 years.
You know, and back in the 90s, there weren't hardly any at all. I mean, there was us and the Northern Stars, but
that was it, pretty much.
Yeah, it was. And nowadays, there's probably, the girls' side, there's too many to name, and then the boys' side, there's a handful of them. There seems to be competition rising up all the time, and you know, our state can only support so much of that, but eventually something will give. But I mean, we've been able to have a lot of success through the years, and I see continued success in the future as well.
And what do you see as the impact of the Pentagon, the availability of this facility for youth basketball and those basketball players who have higher aspirations?
But the biggest thing is nationally. I mean, in the Midwest here, we're bringing in more Midwest teams. We're getting further reaches. We've had teams from Colorado this last summer here. I don't know the Colorado teams have ever come here. We've had teams from Kansas. You know, we've had teams from Wisconsin. So we're further reaching, getting teams to play here. The Pentagon Series has helped develop that and attract some of the top mid-level, I'd say, programs here. There's a lot of shoe company sponsored teams in Minnesota, a couple in Iowa, that they're bound by their contracts with their shoe companies playing certain events, but we've been able to capture maybe the step below that, or teams of the same caliber. Just because they're not a shoe company doesn't mean that they're not a good quality program. But I think the Pentagon in that regard, especially our youth tournaments in the wintertime, if you look at the makeup of the teams, we're getting a lot of teams from out of the city that play at the Pentagon. A lot of variety. So one of the complaints you hear from youth coaches is, well, we go to the same tournaments every weekend and we play the same teams. Out here, there's more variety offered, I believe. It's a double-edged sword. We run Saturday, Sunday events. We do that because it attracts more out-of-state teams. It may deter local teams from playing all the time. They like Friday, Saturdays, but if you do Friday, Saturday events, then it deters your out-of-state teams because they can't play Friday nights. So there's kind of a balance you try to strike there, and I think we've had a lot of success there in providing a lot of different variety. So in that regard, as a staple in the region, as people start to hear about it and learn about the facility and the quality of the events that we run here, it generates more and more buzz and generates more and more teams coming here. And then in that regard, it's been a positive for not just Sioux Falls, but the entire state.
Yeah, and the whole region. It extends outside of South Dakota as well, I'd say. So, do you designate any of the tournaments as special collegiate showcases?
Oh, in the wintertime, no, because you're talking about,
Coaches are busy.
they're recruitable athletes, but there's the dead period for Division I. You can't be out in the wintertime anyways. But there's live periods in the summer or in the spring. April is a live period, and a couple with the weekends. And then July, most of July is open. So we do run certified events, both in the boys and the girls side.
Yeah. So I got to ask you, you've been involved with basketball for a long time. What is it that you love about the game?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if I have an answer to that. I just, I've enjoyed my relationships with the coaches, the travel involved, watching kids develop, helping kids get to the next level. I mean, it started out as a hobby, and it's still a hobby today in that regard, what I do with the schooler program. But as far as, I don't know that I love basketball probably as much as people think I love basketball. I have a passion for it. I have a passion to help people out. I have a passion for my job here at the Pentagon. I think you have to have a passion to be able to give 110% to your job, and in some regards it's very consuming of your life. I mean, if you're going to do things, you have to immerse yourself into it, and you have to go full board, steam ahead, and that's how I've always approached everything.
Yeah, well, and it's a great sport. Keep kids fit, and all the things that they learn from being a part of a team are important, aren't they?
Yeah, I think, it does help kids out. There's a lot of kids that play in the summer or in the winter just for the camaraderie of it. I think people miss that part of it. I think they look at it as wins and losses, and there's more to the game than just wins and losses. The relationships that you form, long-lasting relationships, even with just, a youth travel team in the wintertime, you go to graduations, that's the first thing you'll see is the pictures of the youth teams, and as the kids get older, they remember their experiences, and if you provide a positive experience for them, that's lifelong.
Yeah, and it is. We were a traveling basketball family, and it was a great experience for our kids. Now, you've got a lot of events coming up, but of the events you've held so far, what event would you say is one of your favorites, and why?
It's a good question because it's kind of all blurred together. I mean, I'm under the philosophy you treat them all the same, and that way you give the same effort for all of them. And my philosophy, personally, when people come here, I want to treat them with respect and treat them the way I'd want to be treated and provide a first-class experience for them, whether it's a youth tournament or a high-major college game, or it's a volleyball tournament, or maybe it's a rental of a meeting room for a conference or a meeting. And that's what we strive to do here all the time. Eric Larson, our general manager, wants first-class events here. He wants first-class the way people are treated. He wants people to walk away with that they had an overwhelming experience at the Pentagon. I think the little things that we do for college teams when they come in here, whether it be hanging banners on the walls or providing shooting shirts for them or nameplates in their lockers, it's just a little added touch, and if you watch the post-game interviews with the coaches, the first 5 minutes is raving about the building and how they were treated, and then you've accomplished something. So I don't have a favorite. Obviously, it's easy to say, well, the college games, the Wisconsin St. John's game or the Wichita Memphis game, but we were talking, for me personally, to be able to sit and watch that isn't always going to happen when an event's going on. I mean, the youth tournaments in the summertime, our Pentagon Series Championship is a lot of fun. So we run a high school volleyball tournament in September, which we've grown from 6 teams, and next year we're over 24 teams.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, those are fun events too. Every event we run here is fun. I don't know that there's one that stands out more than the other. I think people will be surprised to learn that. I think you think the high-end stuff or the high major stuff or the NBA stuff is the most attractive, but I mean, you have to approach everything the same way, or else you're not giving your best effort.
Give everybody the same high-quality experience. So now, what about some of the events that are coming up this year?
Well, in a couple of weeks we have, let me think now. Iowa State's going to play Colorado on November 13th, so that's our biggest event. Our first youth tournament is the 7th and 8th. That's our tip-off tournament in November. We're only doing one November tournament, and then we have 2 tournaments in December, first weekend and the third weekend. We have December 12th, Minnesota's going to play Oklahoma State. Did I say Iowa State's playing Oklahoma State? Iowa State's playing Colorado.
You had said it right.
Then, we'll have a girls' high school classic, which will feature 9 games, 18 high school teams on December 19th.
Oh, nice.
Then a week later, the Skyforce will have their traditional Christmas Day game. They play on the 26th as well, I believe. And then on the 27th and 28th of December, we follow up with 2 college games. So we're going to have a ton of basketball opportunities. And then the Mike Miller Classic will be on the 29th. But on the 27th, South Dakota State's going to play Mid-Tennessee State University. And then on the 28th, USD will play Florida Gulf Coast.
Well, those should be some good games.
Then you get the Mike Miller Classic. So it's going to be a busy 5 days of basketball at the Pentagon.
A Christmas of basketball.
Yeah, it's probably a good weekend way to spend your weekend.
Yeah, great weekend. So what do you do to get everything all ready for these events coming up? What's a day look like for you preparing for them coming in?
Everything. I mean, from a youth tournament perspective, it's from scratch, lining up your officials, lining up your schedules, adjusting schedules as people's needs change or teams back out, unfortunately, from time to time, or you had to add a team. Making sure your staff is in place, communicating to your teams. They're, putting things on the website. Make sure your officials get paid after the event's over, and then it rolls.
Well, that's a whole other issue. The officials, isn't it?
Rolls right into the next event. So I mean, it's become. I don't know if there's any magic formula, but I mean, we've done them enough here where I don't really even have any flow charts. Just naturally do it and run enough events where you know how you want them run, and I think it's just a matter of you just get prepared for the next one. There's no magic formula for that either. I mean, every day is a new day at the Pentagon. It could be something could pop up. Somebody could pop through the door, wants to see the facility, and you're instantly giving a tour of the place, or maybe a new project comes along, or a new idea, or a new event we're trying to work on. So I think there's a lot of brainstorming. We're constantly thinking of new ideas of keep this place busy, or what new event we can bring in here. But no day is alike around here.
Yeah.
And on event days, it can be chaotic. It could start at 6 in the morning, and it could end at 11 at night, or it could end early into the hours, depending on what the event is. I mean, it's just, they're rewarding, fun days, and there's a lot of effort that goes into it, a lot of teamwork around here. We have a full-time, part-time staff, is I guess a good way to put it, of about 100 employees that
Wow.
assist and support in a lot of different functions here. And we only have a full-time staff in the premise, in the facility for about, we have about 11 people on staff here.
Okay.
And that includes our custodians as well. So, I mean, our unsung heroes are our custodians. They bust their tails and keep this place looking brand new every day.
They do. They do a great job.
I kind of laugh. I said it's kind of Disney World for hoops because, obviously it's a fun place to come to, but I mean, it's as clean as Disney World in a lot of places. And I've been to a lot of gyms, and our guys keep this place really clean. So, we've got a lot of support from the community with volunteer groups to clean our public areas at their events, and it's a good working relationship with them. They help out in concessions at times, and just a lot of teamwork, a lot of moving parts there.
Yeah, I bet. Well, it is a beautiful facility, and you guys put on a lot of great events here. And I have to give a hats off to your social media people too, because at Sanford Pentagon on Twitter and the Sanford Pentagon on Facebook, there's some great stuff coming out there, and on Instagram.
I think all that credit, a lot of that goes to Terry Vanderbeck. He came on board about a year ago, and he's done a tremendous job of just keeping the Twitter account up to date, keeping Facebook up to date. It's constantly keeping people informed, and if you don't follow the Twitter account, it's a good idea to do it, because there's, especially the last 2 college games, we really didn't market the Iowa State-Colorado game, and a lot of people were disappointed in that, but on Twitter it went out, and 2 hours later tickets went on sale, and 4 hours later it was sold out.
Yeah.
So the power of social media in that regard, I was just kind of blown away by how quickly that game sold out. And then the Minnesota game didn't take as much longer than that as well, and we did kind of get that out in the public, but I don't know that anybody anticipated, because our past history of games where your tickets were available up to the day of the game, and as like I said, Iowa State, obviously, before Coach Hoiberg stepped down and went to the Chicago Bulls, there was a lot of anticipation they're going to be highly regarded this year and they're a top 10 team. But we were just overwhelmed with how quickly the reaction, the response of the fan base gobbled up all those tickets.
Yeah. Well, you're right. Social media is a great way to reach your target market out there, I think. And Terry's doing a fantastic job with that. But he can't be out there promoting a product that you guys aren't behind and putting out there for him to promote. So.
No, and that's, like I said, a lot of it is word of mouth reputation. I mean, we travel this summer to a lot of youth events, and you see Pentagon shirts everywhere. So I think we've done a good job of branding our brand. We've got a lot of gear out there, a lot of shirts from not just people in the Midwest, but one kid I saw was from Chicago area, and you know, it's just
Fun.
far away, and it's really interesting to see. You know, this is kind of the marketing wing of Sanford, and not only just Sanford, but for Sioux Falls, like I said, and the entire state of South Dakota. This is something we can be proud of, this facility. To have this sports campus in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, all the things that are offered, not just the Pentagon, but the field house, the hockey, the tennis, the football fields. I mean, it's crazy out here in the fall when you have junior football going with a hockey event and something going on at the Pentagon, some of the field house. It's just the traffic around here is just unbelievable. To think this is Sioux Falls, this isn't a major city, and you know, a lot of these major cities, they have these complexes and they come and go and they revamp them. They're not able to make it financially because they don't have the backing and support of an organization like Sanford
Yes.
is committed to making this facility work, not only just the Pentagon, but the entire sports complex. So a lot of things you see the rewards and maybe aren't monetary, but the rewards are intrinsic. I mean, there's a lot of things out there that people benefit from this place, and it's just been amazing to see the growth of this place.
Isn't it wonderful to be a part of it?
It's a lot of fun. I mean, I think a lot of people, the group that works here, the core group, we take a lot of pride in the daily work that we do here, and we see a lot of rewards in what we do here.
Yeah. Well, and Sioux Falls is rapidly becoming, if it isn't already there, the youth sports hub of the Midwest. I really think that's happening.
It's growing, definitely is. I mean, it's unique. I mean, the facilities are first class. I mean, you're not going to find these kind of facilities just anywhere. So it's a little out of the way, off the beaten path, but if people are willing to make that drive or make that travel trip, they'll be rewarded by a great experience at the Pentagon.
Yeah, definitely will. Well, Paul, thanks so much for taking some time with us at Basketball 605 and giving people a glimpse into what happens here at the Sanford Pentagon. We're excited for this season. Thanks again.
Thank you.